All right, so I'm going to do this quick video showing you kind of how to get started with Google Classroom. I'll email it, and I will also supply some extra links just to get you going. So anytime I do anything in Google, I just need to go classroom.google.com. If I had documents, it would be documents.google.com, drive.google.com, any of these. And I just created one and started the video over, so that's what's that. When I create the plus button, you can see I can create or join a class. So if I were to join a class, this is what the students would use to actually log into your class. And this is what I'm going to use to actually create the class. So in this case, I've read the instructions. You're going to name the class. So I'm going to go music, and then, beginning, subject. I don't know how you organize your classes. Sometimes I don't know how you organize your classes. Usually what you want to do is you kind of want to break them up into smaller chunks. For instance, if you had 150 people, it's pretty difficult to have 150 people on the same classroom. It can get really confusing really quickly. So however you can break those into smaller chunks would probably be better for you. So beginning, and I'm going to leave those blank. I'm going to click create. And it might conflict with this one here. Oh, good. All right. So the first thing that you see is right here. This is the join code. If you give that code out to your students when they go classroom.google.com, they would click the plus button and they would enter that code, and then they would show up in your classroom. So the first screen here is the stream. And this is where I can send out class announcements. I have the classwork section. This is where I add assignments, other announcements. Most students stick with the stream. They just kind of look at that one screen and don't click through here. But as a teacher, you have to create everything through classwork. Here's the people section, and your students would be populated here. Grades, if you were actually going to grade the students, you can do that with the assignments as well. There will be a section here once it were populated to actually email all your students at once or email individual students. It's pretty easy to navigate once you get to that point. But let's go in here and see how Stream and Classroom work. Anything I post in Classroom is going to show up on the stream. It's just a kind of a running list of everything that you do in there that shows up on that front page. I'm going to create an assignment. And in this case, what I'm going to do is, let's say this were your practice log. And I gave students a piece of music that they had to practice and record. So please practice and record your time playing. Once I go in here, I can add. So I can add a file. Let's say you were adding a piece of music. This would be like a PDF that you want to upload to them. And if I clicked here, I could add any sort of file. I'll just take you right into this here. So I'm going to select it from my desktop. I really don't have a whole lot on there. Documents, you can see just about anything can show up there. Here's a PDF, and I'm okay with sharing this. There we go. And then I would upload. So that PDF would be available for them to view. I could also let students edit that. And all the time I've done this, I've only done that once, and it was a mistake. I generally don't give students any sort of editing privilege. I can also make a copy for each student. The difference here is if I wanted students to actually fill out something and make it their own, I would make a copy for each student. In this case, I just want them to be able to look through it. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is let's say I want to add a practice log. And if I go into, let's say, documents, docs.google.com, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a blank document. So I'll title this practice log. And I'm going to insert just a table right here. And let's do date. And then time spent practicing. Let's just do time spent. If I wanted to add another one, I can control click or right click and just add another column there. Time spent, and then I don't know what else you would do, other. Okay, so let's say I wanted to push that out to all my students. I wanted them to be able to fill that out on their computer. So I'm going to click add, go to my Google Drive. Should show up in just a second. There we go. Click add. Now, this is one that I want to give students, make a copy for each student, because I want them to be able to fill out their own practice log and not all the same one. So I'm not going to make this any points. I can give this a due date if I wanted to. Topics just break things into different sections. I haven't created any topics, but if you did, maybe this would be practice. And then I can click here. I can schedule this to be assigned in the future. I can save it and give it out in the future, or I can just click assign. So let's see what that's going to look like when we get to the classwork. So if I click stream here, you can see this has been posted. If I go into classwork, you can see there's the topic and here's the practice log. All right, other things to consider. Everything that you post here will be in a Google Calendar and save in a separate folder within your Google Drive. All right, I'm trying to think of anything else. That's really the basics. Let's see, we did one for a conference, my coworker and we just kind of did a quick one here. You know, this was online portfolios. This was a way for us to push out materials. So if you're using Google Classroom to just push out materials, say music or other announcements, it's a great way to do it. If you want to collect stuff from students, this would be the other way that you do it.